Hello everyone, and welcome to Storytime. I'm so glad that you could join us today. My name is Miss Kate, and today we are going to be reading stories about Father's Day. So stick around. The more we get together, the more we get together, the happier we'll be. 'Cause your friends are my friends and my friends are your friends. The more we get together, the happier we'll be. The more we get together, the more we get together, the happier we'll be. 'Cause your friends are my friends and my friends are your friends. The more we get together, the happier we'll be. The first story I'm going to read you is called Froggy's Day with Dad. And this story is written by Jonathan London, and it is illustrated by Frank Ramikowitz. "Froggy!" called his mother. "What?" cried Froggy. "Rise and shine," said his mom. "It's Father's Day." "Hooray!" cried Froggy. He hopped out of bed and flopped to the kitchen. Flop, flop, flop. He'd been waiting a long time for Father's Day to come. At school, he'd made a special present, and now he was making breakfast for Dad all by himself. He dropped an egg on his foot. Splat! "Oops," said Froggy. "Froggy!" called his dad. "What? What's that funny smell?" "You'll see," said Froggy. Then he served his dad breakfast in bed. "Happy Father's Day," said Froggy. "I made it all by my—" Oops, it slipped. Splat! "Oh, Froggy," said his mom. But she scooped it up and Froggy's dad took a bite. Thanks, Froggy," he said. "The eggshells are nice and crunchy." "I have another surprise for you," said Froggy after breakfast. "We're going to play golf for Father's Day. It's your favorite game." "You're too little to play golf," said Dad, "but you're just the right size to play miniature golf." "Yippee," said Froggy. "Let's go." "First you have to get dressed, silly." "Oops," said Froggy, and he flopped back to his room to get dressed. Flop, flop, flop. Zap, zip, zim, zoop, zup, zap. "I'm ready," cried Froggy. And he and his dad leapfrogged all the way to the fun park. Flop, flop, flop. "First," cried Froggy, "let's ride the bumper boats." "Okay," said his dad, "then we'll play golf." Froggy sat on his dad's lap, and he helped steer. Whip splash, whip splash. Oof! They bumped another boat so hard that Froggy bounced up into the air. Whee! Turned a somersault and landed upside down in the boat. Thump! "Let's go to the batting cage," cried Froggy. "Okay," said his dad, "then we'll play golf." Froggy put on a helmet. Zap! Then he wound up and swung. Oops! The bat flew out of his hands and hit his dad in the foot. Thunk! "Now can we play golf?" asked his dad. "Golf?" said Froggy. "Why didn't you say so? Let's go." So they flopped over to play miniature golf. Flop, flop, flop. At the first hole, Froggy wound up and started to swing. "Froggy!" yelled his dad. "What?" "You're facing the wrong way." "Oops," cried Froggy. "I knew that." Froggy turned around. Then he wound up and started to swing. "Wait," said his dad. "First you have to address the ball." "Oh," said Froggy. "Hello, ball." "No," his dad just laughed. "I mean, stand with your feet apart and place the head of the club behind the ball, then swing." Froggy shrugged, then wound up and swung. Bam, bing, boing. The ball bounced off 3 windmill blades and landed in the hole. Plop. "Hole in one," cried Froggy. "Holy cow," said Froggy's dad. "That was beginner's luck." "No way," said Froggy. "I'm a pro." After his dad's turn, it took him 9 times to hit the ball in, and Froggy said, "Nice try, Dad." They flopped to the next hole. Flop, flop, flop. "Now watch me," said Froggy, and he wound up and swung. Bam, bing, boing. The ball bounced off 3 towers and hit his dad smack in the head, bonk, and knocked him down. "Oops," cried Froggy, looking more red in the face than green. Thanks, Froggy, groaned his dad, and he rubbed a bump on his head the size of a golf ball. The rest of the game was fun, though, especially for Froggy. He dove into a pond beneath a waterfall, flop, flop, splash, and came up with 7 balls. And when they got back home, Froggy gave his dad his special Father's Day gift. Happy Father's Day, Dad! His dad tore off the paper. Rip! Wow! A mug, he said. Yep, said Froggy. I painted the letters all by myself. It says, to the best dad I ever had. Thanks, Froggy, said his dad. This is the best gift I ever had. The end. The next story I'm going to read you is called Papa, Please Get the Moon for Me. And this story was written and illustrated by Eric Carl. Before Monica went to bed, she looked out of her window and saw the moon. The moon looked so near. I wish I could play with the moon, thought Monica, and reached for it. But no matter how much she stretched, she could not touch the moon. Papa, said Monica to her father, please get the moon for me. Papa got a very long ladder. He carried the very long ladder towards a very high mountain. Then Papa put the very long ladder on top of the very high mountain. Up and up and up he climbed. Finally, Papa got to the moon. My daughter Monica would like to play with you, said Papa, but you are much too big. Every night I get a little smaller, said the moon. When I am just the right size, you can take me with you. And indeed, the moon got smaller and smaller and smaller. When the moon was just the right size, Papa took it. Down and down and down he climbed. Here, said Papa to Monica, I have the moon for you. Monica jumped and danced with the moon. She hugged the moon and threw it into the air. But the moon kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and finally it disappeared altogether. Then, one night, Monica saw a thin sliver of the moon reappear. Each night, the moon grew and grew and grew. The end. The next story I'm going to read you is called Ta-da! By Jimmy Fallon. And I think we should invite our good friend Miss Mel to come on in here and help us tell this story. Come on in, Mel.
Hey guys.
How are you doing today?
I am great.
That is awesome. Are you ready to do a fun story with me?
I love doing fun stories, you know that.
Well, this book is called Your Baby's First Word Will Be Dada. Was your first word Dada?
I don't know. I'll have to ask my dad that.
You'll have to ask your dad if your first word was Dada.
I can think of a few words.
This book was written by Jimmy Fallon. There's an old cow, and he really wants his baby to say
He looks
Dada.
very angry.
I know. Well, he wants him to say Dada. He says, Dada. But baby cow says,
Moo.
oh, we've got daddy sheep. And he says, Dada!
Bah.
Dada!
Quack.
Dada! Dada!
Woof.
Dada! Dada!
Meow.
Dada! Squeak! Dada!
Hee-haw.
Dada!
Wink.
Dada!
Ribbit.
Dada!
Beep.
Dada!
Nay.
Now everybody get in line. Let's say it together one more time. Dada! The end. They finally said it.
Yeah. It's good with them.
The end. The next story I'm going to read you is called My Dad is a Tree.
What?
I know. It's crazy.
That's wacky.
How could your dad be a tree? And this book is written by John Agee.
I mean, if your dad's tall.
I guess.
Dad's not that tall.
Let's see. My dad is a tree. Madeline, what are you doing?
I'm pretending to be a tree.
A tree? Why a tree?
Because a tree gets to stay outside all day long. Come on, Dad. Let's be trees. Pretend your arms are branches, your body's a trunk, your legs are roots, and then you stand in one place like this.
Well, okay, Madeline, but only for a minute. Whoa.
Look, Dad, a little owl is sleeping on your shoulder. A robin is making a nest in your hair. Chickadees are chirping on your arms. Dad, you are a very good tree.
Madeline, I have a tickle on my nose and an itch on my wrist, and something is scratching my ankle.
That's okay, Dad. A tree doesn't mind itches and tickles.
Madeline, there is a spider web under my arm, and a slug on my shoe, and a squirrel is stuffing an acorn into my pocket.
That's okay, Dad. Trees aren't bothered by stuff like that. And remember, we are trees.
Madeline? Madeline!
Hold still, Dad, while I untangle the kite.
Madeline, where are you going?
To get an umbrella.
Thank you, Madeline, but this umbrella is not very big.
That's okay, Dad. Trees don't mind getting wet.
Oh no. Oh no, now it's nighttime.
Look, Dad, the rain has stopped.
Yes, Madeline, but now it's nighttime.
Don't worry, Dad. Trees aren't afraid of the dark.
Madeline, it's time to go inside. Right now.
We can't, Dad. We're trees.
Madeline, we are not trees. Our arms are not branches. Our body is not a trunk, and our legs are not roots. And Madeline, look.
Good night, little owl. Well, Dad, you're right. We definitely are not trees. But that's okay. We got to stay outside all day long. I wonder what we'll be tomorrow.
The end.
I love that book.
So they weren't really trees, but they were pretending to be trees,
Yes,
which is
they were
pretty cool,
pretending.
right?
Yeah. It's kind of like when they used to play that freeze game when you were younger. You had to stop.
Yeah.
Pretend you're a tree.
The next story I'm going to read you is called Knuffle Bunny.
Not Knuffle Bunny, Knuffle Bunny.
Knuffle Bunny, a cautionary tale by Mo Willems. Not so long ago, before she could even speak words, Trixie went on an errand with her daddy. Trixie and her daddy went down the block, through the park, past the school, and into the laundromat. Trixie helped her daddy put the laundry into the machine. She even got to put the money into the machine. Then they left. But a block or so later, Trixie realized something.
Her eyes got really big.
Trixie turned to her daddy and said,
I'll go flubble clubble.
"That's right," replied her daddy. "We're going home."
I'll go flubble clubble.
Said Trixie again.
Blubble plubble. Won't be flappy.
"Now please don't get fussy," said her daddy. Well, she had no choice. Trixie bawled. She went boneless. She did everything she could to show how unhappy she was. By the time they got home, her daddy was unhappy too. As soon as Trixie's mommy opened the door, she asked, "Where's Snuffle Bunny?" The whole family ran down the block, and they ran through the park. They zoomed past the school and into the laundromat. Trixie's daddy looked for Snuffle Bunny and looked and looked and looked, but Snuffle Bunny was nowhere to be found.
Oh no.
So Trixie's daddy decided to look harder until
Snuffle Bunny!
And those were the first words Trixie ever said. The end. Wasn't that a good story, Mel?
That's a good story. I like that story.
Are you ready to do a fun Father's Day craft?
Depends.
We're going to make something for our dads.
Is it going to be very tactile?
Potentially.
Yeah.
You're going to
okay.
love it. Let's
All
get
right,
started.
Let's go.
You ready to make a fun Father's Day craft, Mel?
Sure. Oh, it's my favorite.
It's your favorite. So today we are making a pet rock for our dads.
Okay.
So everyone's going to get some air dry clay.
Ugh.
Yes, and
Yuck.
it feels slimy when you
I
first
don't like
use
it at all.
but it will dry solid. So all you need to do is just roll your dough into a rock shape, whatever kind of rock shape you want. You can make him a round rock or an oval rock or whatever kind of rock you want.
Okay.
And then,
press the clay into the foam base.
yep, you're gonna put your rock on your base. And then, you're gonna give him some eyes and a mouth.
You just stick them in there?
You just stick them in there.
Okay. Kind of reminds me of Marcel the Shell.
Oh, kinda, yeah.
Right.
And then you wanna give him a mouth.
Where am I sticking this?
Well, where a mouth would go. Oh, that. Yeah, you wanna put that on top somewhere.
Okay. A mouth, huh?
So then put his hands on. So he'll have one hand, and then he'll have another hand that's holding his My Dad Rocks sign. Oh, excuse me, Dad You Rock sign. So we'll put that in there. And then you probably want to let it sit for 24 hours to let it dry before you give it to your dad for Father's Day.
Yeah, because you want it to get hard.
But this is a very cute craft, don't you think?
Hi, I'm Marcel the Shell.
Very easy, very cute.
It is cute, actually.
Yep, so.
I think this might go on my desk.
You can pick these up at the Washington County Public Library as long as supplies last in the children's department in the basement.
Yes, don't see me.
In Marietta on 5th Street.
All right.
So hope to see you soon.
My name is Marcel the Shell.
Are you ready to sing them out?
I am.
Let's do it.
All right.
Our story time is over, wave goodbye. Our story time is over, wave goodbye. Our story time is done. I hope you had lots of fun. Our story time is over, wave goodbye. Bye everybody. See you next time.
Froggy's Day with Dad by Jonathan London, illustrated by Frank Remikowitz. Published by Scholastic Incorporated, copyright 2004. Papa, Please Get the Moon for Me by Eric Carle. Published by Simon & Schuster, copyright 1986. Dada by Jimmy Fallon. Published by Faywell and Friends, copyright 2017. My Dad is a Tree by John Agee. Published by National Geographic Books, copyright 2023. Knuffle Bunny, A Cautionary Tale by Mo Willems. Published by Hyperion Books, copyright 2004. WCMO Storytime is a production of MCTV.